you know what, this is interesting for me. I have had a similar problem, right? I've had a similar problem. This is how I solved it. Because I don't know all the problems you had, and I don't know everything. So I would discuss about things which I know. I would discuss about things I've discussed with others who's lived that kind of a journey. So it's very important that you use the chat box, and make sure that you type it in an English or Arabic, because Sarah understands Arabic really well, so she can translate it. And speak up loud. By the end of the session, what we're going to do is that we're going to share all the questions to each other and all the solutions what you have had. So if you had an interesting scenario, and if you had a major challenge when you were going through your PhD journey, please share the problem as well as the solution you had. So it's important that you talk. And after every phase, we're going to discuss the PhD journey in three phases. After every phase, I'm going to spend 3 minutes reading through the questions, or I would ask Saras to help read any of the questions which came in Arabic. So I believe that this is okay. So that's how we're going to run the session. So let's look at the most important slide of the whole journey. I would say, okay, I have decided to do my PhD, or you have decided to do your PhD. Now, why are we doing it? So, I said, okay, I want to be a professor because my uncle is a professor, or I would say I would love to be a research or an innovation professional. Or like me, somebody would come and say that, okay, I want to learn the entire research process. I want to become a PhD so that I can get into the business of research and publications. I can get into the business of publishing reports. So, or I would say that my CV would look better when I go in for a consulting engagement. So, why are you doing it, or why are you planning to do this? We have agreed that we're going to use the chat box. I don't see anybody using it. So please say that, okay, why are you doing it? Is it because somebody else is doing it? Or is it a benchmark? Is it somebody else asked you to do it? Or do you really have a vision? What's the purpose? Where exactly do you want to be after doing such a session? I'm expecting that I'm not speaking too fast. Please tell me so that I can slow down. Yeah, so I'm speaking a bit faster because we've got an hour, and we need to cover a lot of areas. Yeah. And this is another interesting page. You're starting a journey, and who's going to be with you throughout the journey, wherever it ends, regardless of yeah regardless of regardless of where regardless of where are you going to end the journey. So it's important that you understand the key people or stakeholders involved in the journey, right? So just want to say that Layla says that because she loves studying more and more, that's why she wants to do the PhD. Okay, that's interesting. And let's come back to the slide and say that, okay, who are the key players? It's all about you in the beginning. When you start, it's all about your family. You have decided. And the second thing is that you need a facilitator, or you need a center or a service provider, which is probably the university. And who's going to be the closest in the journey, apart from your family? That's definitely the supervisor, because it's he or she is going to play a very important role throughout your journey. It's important that who all are there with you, you need to understand them really well, and the good and bad about having them or not having them throughout the journey. It's important that you see the positive and negative impact by having them or not having them throughout the journey. Okay, let's not forget the fact that we're going to have a lot of tough administrators, who's going to be evaluating, who's going to be administrating throughout the process. And the city and culture, the city plays a vital role, and the culture, because I may be coming in from Saudi Arabia, or I may be coming in from Europe, and I may be coming in from Dubai to UK. So the culture may vary, and so that's very important. And then you're talking about your family. Okay, when you say family, like uh, how well are they with you? Are they supporting you, or do you have a tough time going through the PhD journey? What kind of a support do we have? I was reading a lot of journeys uh, where people have taken the kids when they're studying the PhD, and the husbands are working back home in the countries, and this has been an amazing support by a lot of people, and they completed the journey. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you need all of them, and if you're working, you need to look at your employer as well. So that's very important, that they may fund you, they may not, but the most important thing is you have their support, or the moral support throughout the journey, right? And now let's not focus on the actual journey. Let's look at how well can we live the journey by planning the most basic things throughout the journey. So I'm telling here is, let's start planning or strategize the whole journey, because it's important that you don't miss the basics throughout the whole story, right? So let's look at what are the core elements you look at while you do the planning. It's important that you go through this journey. It's important that you cover 7 key steps, or you address those 7 key questions every step and every process throughout the journey, or every step you take. So we're going to break the journey into 3 phases. And before we get on to the journey, before we get on to the actual steps involved, let's look at the 7 golden rule, or the golden 7, what we generally say. I would say these are very, very important. The first thing is that we have addressed the fact that, okay, why are you doing a PhD? Like somebody says that want to feel that I'm an expert on my interesting field, and somebody say that they want to build a robust research skills. So you've got a vision set. Now the next question is that what do I want to achieve by doing this PhD? Or say you said that, okay, this is my vision. Okay, what are my goals and objectives throughout the process? If I have to be an expert in research, what are the things I want to achieve if I have to be an expert scholar, right? And the second thing is that how do I achieve them, right? So you say that, okay, these are my goals. Okay, the first thing is that the first goal I'm setting up is that I need to move into a new city. Or the first goal I'm setting that, okay, I need to prepare a proposal. Or the most important thing, I would say that, okay, my first goal is to find a supervisor. So let's take that as an example. So I want to find a supervisor. The next question comes in is that, how do I find a supervisor? How do I sign up with a supervisor? What do I do? What are the actions I should take? I should find somebody from the university. I should find a consultant who's providing this service. I would look at LinkedIn, who's providing similar services. Now you may go with multiple actions in order to achieve that objective of finding a supervisor. So similar way, for every step, you need to make sure that you define your goals and objectives. So looking at the example of finding a supervisor, what actions would help you to find a supervisor, right? So let's say that I have decided to write to the university to give me a list of supervisors available. I've got a service provider. I have my country supporting me. I've got my consulate supporting me. I don't know. This may be different reasons, right? Now, I'm just talking about generic sense here. And then the third thing is that, okay, I've said that, I need to find a supervisor. I've taken ABC as actions. And now, who will do it for me? I would say, okay, I'm doing it. Who else is involved? Okay, I said that, okay, I'm doing it. There is a potential supervisor who's going to come in. Is there anybody else who all are involved? And then how do I find them? So I'm breaking down my task of finding a supervisor by looking at what actions do I have to do in order to achieve this goal, and who will do this for me, who all are there going to be, who all are going to be there throughout the journey, and how do I find them? I know that, these are all known facts, but when you do them together, this is going to create amazing results. Believe me, $100 million organization or $1 billion organization follows the same rule to achieve the money, right? So we are just fine tuning it in such a way that, we understand this really well, and we are practicing it really well. So let's look at the number 4. The number 4 is that, I'm setting an action, I'm setting an objective. I need to find my supervisor. Now I have to say that, will it take 60 minutes or 60 days or 90 days, or will it take 120 days? Will it take 6 months? I don't know. Now let's put a realistic target here. So let's say that, okay, I'm going to have a realistic target here. I'm going to say that, I'm going to do it in 90 days. I'm going to do it in 120 days. Now, the number 5 is the most important element. So I think I can see Sarah posting a question here, so that, please answer this question. How long did you take to find a supervisor? If you have not found one, how long do you think will take for you to find a supervisor, right? And is it difficult to find a supervisor? Please answer these questions. And the most important thing is when you say that, when you define the timeline, then you say that, okay, I have set to find a supervisor. I have decided to do ABC as an action. I have decided who all are going to be there. I've set a starting date and a potential end date. Now I need to see, I said I'm going to do it in 120 days. Now I've finished 70 days. I need to see where exactly I am right now. I've not even made my first contact. I would probably have to worry a bit. What is the benefit of looking at where exactly are you now is to basically readjust or realign your goals. So if I'm at 90, day 90, and I've not done anything, I would probably know that I need to have another 90 days, another 60 days to find. So it would help you to adjust your journey accordingly, right? So it is not to just get worried. It is more importantly to adjust your journey accordingly. So let's make sure that, we do that. And if your journey so far is so good, you can also analyze, why am I doing so good, right? So you know why this is important, because an appreciation is important. Understanding why you're doing this really good is very, very important. It's just because you need to replicate those good practices throughout all the other steps as well. Because when you're approaching, or when you're targeting the entire journey, you need to make sure that, you've got a lot of other steps to do. And if you're doing really well in this step, your approach of doing this step would probably help doing the other steps as well, right? Are you being proactive, or are you following the basic steps what we are explaining right now? And if you're failing, if you're not doing well, probably you would like to see, why are you not doing well? Is it because you're not taking the right approach, you're not working with the right people, you have not set the right actions, you have not set the right targets or objectives? So it's important that, the number 5 and 6 is, I would say, are the most important elements of the whole journey. And finally, the number 7, I know that, you would have enough finances, but when you look at a journey plan for the next 5 years, we all go through ups and downs in life. So it's important that, you have, uh, you have, you know, you have the whole journey covered. And you have got enough of finances throughout the journey. So you've got the right resources to get those done. I think, so these are the golden 7 rules of having the right planning. Now let's look at the entire journey. For the whole story. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that, hope you're following me. What I'm trying to tell you here is simply, right from writing a proposal till you complete the journey, I have put together the list of activities involved. And I've not taken it from Google. And as I've told you, I'm not an expert in PhD. So what I've done is that, I had a chat with a lot of people who's done the PhD, and I've asked them, what did you do? So I've taken those steps into this journey. So, it may not be a standard polished journey if you're looking for an academic journey. So this is a journey where people have lived, and I've just put them together. So, correct, so, this may be, there may be a few things missing, there may be a few things, additional, which you have not seen in the standard journey. So this is just the basic things, right? And let's look at the first phase, where we say that we're going to look at writing a proposal, right? So how well can you write a proposal? I may be very good at writing a business email, but if you ask me to write an academic proposal, my academic writing may not be as good as it is needed to present it to the university, to present it to my supervisor. So it's important that this is one of the most important elements of your whole journey. If you're not good at writing, please make sure that you start reading all the existing research papers. You start reading all the best things you love about. If you like sports, start reading about sports. If you like science, start reading about science. Because reading, and also if you're good at listening, start listening as well, right? And then whatever you have listened and read, please make sure that you start writing about it. You may write the most basic English, you may write the best English, but the best way to improve your writing skills is just doing the writing as a practice, right? So there's no alternatives. Nobody's going to do this for you. If you need to make a strong impact in the beginning, make sure that you've got a strong, you improve your writing skills, or you start writing, if you have not started writing. So, read, write, and listen, and keep writing. And the next thing is that we spoke about finding a supervisor. I don't know what are the best methods of finding a supervisor. We are talking technology. One of the best methods could be if you can create a common platform where everybody can come and talk about their experience, and in different regions. That may be a good one. There are different ways of finding a supervisor, in this age of technology. So, but it is not an easy task, because it's more like getting married to someone, because you're going to live the journey throughout the PhD journey with this supervisor, and you need to make sure that you have a very strong relationship built throughout the journey. And the third thing is that you're talking about the interview. So if you do the first two, the third thing would be basically the output of the first two would be the input for the third exercise we're going to do. So it's important that if you do the first two exercises, the third exercise would be more of a cakewalk. If you have not done the first two exercises really well, you're going to struggle on the third one, right? And I would say, if I'm moving in to a new city to settle there to do my PhD, let's say if I'm moving in from Riyadh to London, or Riyadh to Leeds, I would say that, okay, this is going to be a difficult story for me, because I'm jumping into a complete new story or a new culture, and I'm moving with my family, my kids, and everyone. So it's not easy. So if this is not settled, if you're doing it, you're moving and settling down to the new city, if this is not doing well, none of these first three would do well if you're doing it much earlier. So it's important that you do all these exercises really well. And the purpose of doing this, when you're doing this, please make sure that you are following this golden seven, right? So every step you need to make sure that you're following the golden seven. So don't forget the golden seven: what, how, who, when, where, why, and how. So like, you can always look into this and make sure that you're following it really well, right? And so the most important thing is that, okay, what are the issues you had or you have? Please write your issues here, because we all want to know each other. We all want to know that what kind of issues you had throughout your PhD journey. So is the academic writing skills your issue? Finding a supervisor or building a relationship with a supervisor? Is it the writing skills or the communication skills, or is it the listening skills, or is it the reading skills? Because I've got to follow a lot of instructions, reading a lot of documents. Is it because of my reading skills poor? Or is it settling into a new place with my family is a difficult task, right? So that's very important. Sarah, would you like to place the questions here? Do you have any questions to post here?
In the pool.
Yeah.
All right. And may I please grab your attention, one of the attendees saying, if you can slow down a bit.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right. So I just shared the result of the first survey.
Okay, so what do you think? It's people say that 30 to 60 days is good enough. 47% says 30 to 60 days is good enough to find a supervisor, and 27% says 60 to 120 days is required, and 28% says 120 plus. So altogether, putting everything right, we all agree that it is a tedious process, and the golden seven would help you to do that. So a proactive approach, planning well, would help you to do that, right? And is it difficult to find a supervisor? It is not very difficult to find a supervisor, but yes, I agree with 80% who says that it is difficult to find a supervisor. I would slightly say it is very, very difficult to find a supervisor who's very good, who's extremely good at doing what he is, right? To find an extremely good supervisor is always difficult. Just to find a supervisor, I don't think it is difficult. But yes, I agree with all of you. 80% of people says that, this is, yeah, so this is yeah this is yeah, so this is important. Yeah. And as I said I'm going to spend 3 minutes reading out the comments. And so finding the right supervisor is the most important thing during the PhD journey. Everybody agrees to this. Yeah, the supervisor is the key success factor in your PhD journey. Agreed, 100% agreed. Yeah, so I think we all are, everybody's with us, Sarah. So probably that's nice. Yeah, but we need to see if this is a key issue. And do you all think that, okay, if you do the right planning with the right resources, would it help you to do a better? I don't know, you are doing it, you should be knowing it better, right? Yeah, so the next phase is probably you can wait to answer this question a bit. The next phase is basically where we have moved into the new city. Now we need to improvise the proposal, right? We have had the chat with the supervisor. We have understood the requirements of the university. Now we have to keep on improvising the proposal, right? Now, one of the core elements of the whole journey is you need to have your thesis goals and objectives, right? So again, you're talking about your strategic planning, right? What kind of a structure do you need to have in order to meet your goals and objectives? And what kind of a structure would help you? I think the golden seven would definitely help you to add the right element. If you ask those questions to your thesis goals and objectives, if you ask those elements those questions to your planning the entire thesis structure. I'm not going technical here because you may need a lot of time to discuss the technical elements. And when you actually improving the proposal is an ongoing journey, that's not just one step, right? So you write a proposal, you decide what kind of a structure do you need. You have a monitoring system, you have a monitoring mechanism, and looking at how well you're doing or how badly you are performing, you can actually improvise your plans and the structure as well, right? And once you put everything together, you are making sure that again, similar to the interview, you've got a first year exam, which is probably a mini viva. So where again, if you do the all other four the four steps really well, or the first three steps really well, improving the proposal, which is an ongoing thing, setting up the goals and objectives and having the right structure, and following the golden seven, and I would say you're strongly there with a very good exam and you're highly confident being there, and you have all the all the opportunities, and you've got all the chances to be approved as a PhD researcher. I think this is the first milestone we all look at, having a PhD supervisor on board, building a strong relationship with him, and then slowly moving and completing the interview, making sure that you're getting settled in the city where you've moved in, and keep on improving the proposal, making sure that you've got a strong strategic plan and the structure to implement what you're planning, and making sure that you have a very strong ongoing ongoing engagement with your supervisor. You're going to have a very, very good first year exam, and you're becoming an approved PhD researcher, right? Yeah. So this is basically the phase 2 of the whole journey. And I don't think you're seeing anything which are not known to you. We're just putting things in an organized manner, and the only thing what I'm trying to tell you here is, again, go back to the whole story of completing this exercise. If people are joined late, please make sure that you're going through this exercise for each and every step of the whole journey, right? So make sure that you do that, and believe me, this is going to help you, because again and again, the reason I'm telling this to you is to make sure that you go back. Because when I was speaking to a lot of people who's done the PhD, what they have told me is that I was not monitoring my progress. I was doing extremely good in some stages, and I was doing extremely bad in some stages. But just because I did not monitor them, it did not go well for me. Somebody told me that I found my supervisor, one of the best supervisors, too early, but I was not very good at listening. I was not very good at communicating. I've ended up having a very bad relationship, and that was the most difficult thing in my journey, right? So let's look at the phase 2 issues. So I would say we have started writing in the stage 1, but to improve your proposal or to improve your plan, you need to make sure that you're also improving your writing. If you need to improve your writing skills, you need to make sure that you're improving your listening skills, you're improving your reading skills, and you're practicing your writing skills. So these 3 things needs to be the most basic elements. And for strategic planning, I think if you follow the golden 7, probably you would be very, very successful. And when I say research basics, again, reading, listening, and writing, it would help you to do the research basics. And when I say research basics, it's all about reading a lot and extracting the most important element of the whole story. So the research basics are basically finding out the keywords, getting the right element throughout the write-up, what is available there. And you may be good at doing the research elements of the whole journey, but it's important that you keep improving your communications and writing skills, which would in turn improve your research basics as well, right? And I don't need to explain the exam pressure, so that's all there with us every time we do it. So exam pressure is something which is always there, but with the right preparation and right planning and the right kind of relationship with the supervisor, I think this is going to be quite an engaging and exciting journey. But I won't say it's an easy journey. It is never an easy journey. So I would love to see the results over here. If we have if you have done with the poll, Sarah.
Yeah, but there is 100 attendees who did not do the questionnaire. So we'll end it here.
Come again, Sarah?
We'll end it here. There is 100 participants today did not participate in this poll, but
yeah. Okay.
What?
Okay, so hopefully you'll so this is where, Sarah, I'm telling that, you know, we need to have a strong community where everybody needs to be heard. So, you know, you're giving opportunity to limited people here. So again, I would say everybody says setting up the thesis goals and objectives, because we have so many options available to choose, but choosing and fine tuning those are very, very important. So getting along with the supervisor is looks like an easy journey because it's 27%. It says first exam 18% says that, you know, this is difficult, but you know, I'm happy to see that, you know, you're focusing a lot on your strategic planning. That's very exciting. Yeah, so then comes the, you know, you've become an approved PhD researcher, and now, you know, like you're starting your next year, or probably you're saying that, okay, I have another 4 years to do, I've got another 5 years to do, how long you're going to take it? So you're saying that, okay, I'm going to live my PhD journey. I'm going to take a deep dive into the research element of the whole story. Now again, you go back to your proposal, improving your proposals, and, you know, taking a deep dive into the entire practices, what you have planned to do. But don't forget the fact that what was your strategic planning and structure you have defined here. So here you have defined your thesis goals and objectives, and you've also defined your you know, you define the structure of it. Please make sure that, you know, you have defined them within the golden seven as objectives, and then make sure that, you know, you're chasing them really well while you're living your PhD journey, right? And because it's important that, you know, you monitor those objectives, you know, based on your strategic plan, and make sure that, you know, you are actually moving to the right direction, right? So you've got your research results, and you keep on improvising a proposal. And I would say that, you know, if somebody asked me, you know, relationship with the supervisors, you know, with the supervisors are one of the most important element of the whole journey as well. I was talking about it, but how well can we do it? You need to be diplomatic, you need to be aggressive at times, you need to be more of a listener rather than being aggressive. So the more you listen, the more you read, the more you understand, I think that is where you get to know the culture, you get to know the person, you get to know the structure. The more you read, the more you improve your communication skills. That is where you come to know what is actually required from you throughout your journey. Let it be from the supervisor, let it be from the instruction of the colleges. So it's important that, you know, you understand these elements really well, right? And then you have your internal submissions and exams, and then you have your external submissions and exam. And again, I don't know if you're thinking of golden seven here. You know, I'm repeating this because those are very, very important, because, you know, you all agreed that, you know, strategic planning is important, to make sure that, you know, you practice them really, really well. So here I would say, if you look at the phase 3, I would say the relationship management with the supervisor and improvising the proposal is always important. And more than anything, you make sure that, you know, while you live your PhD journey, you make sure that, you know, your strategic goals are always chased and monitored, right? And the submissions are always, and now, you know, submissions are always, you know, whatever you feed into the previous steps would be the result of your internal and external submission results. So if you have done extremely well, if you put your quality data in, if you have a very good, if you have done a lot of good efforts throughout, so you would get very good results for your internal and external submissions and the exams. So let's have a quick look at the you know, the issues. I would say stress management is a very, very, very important thing, because I spoke to a lot of people, you know, who's literally going mad with the kind of stress and pressure they have to handle from all the stakeholders or from all the key players. For some, the family is an issue. For some, the supervisor is an issue, for some time is an issue. So it's important that you understand your core problems and challenges so that you can manage your stress. And you may have a lot of conflicts again with different players throughout the journey. It could be the supervisor, it could be your college itself, it could be the city and the culture, right? So it could be anything. And most importantly, wearing all the hats at one go. You may be a family person, you may be a businessman, you may be an employee, you may be you are also equally studying, but the amount of time you need to spend on research is immense. So you make sure that you cover these issues. I don't know, you will have a lot of issues here. I'm not seeing a lot of issues posted here. I would love to see issues posted here so that we can spend those 3 minutes and read about it. Sarah,
I assure you, Farouk, it would be an endless list.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
maybe they are hesitated to put it on.
Yeah, so probably when we have the portal on, we will get to see everybody listing the problems. Sarah, do we have the results or the questions here?
We will launch the phase 3.
Yeah.
Please, if you can answer the polls, it will appear at the top of your screen.
Yeah. So managing the supervisor relationship, what skills you should have. So you can choose multiple choice. Easiest is to say all of them, but I'm going to vote with 2. Yeah. I've done my bit.
So we have 3 choices here because I think it's not going to be appeared in the record, the questions.
Okay, so let's see.
We have, yeah. And if you have any further issues, you can type them in the chat box.
Yeah, I think we would love to see more issues because we cannot say all the issues in an hour. And I think, Sarah, you will have tons of issues to write over here, right? So, yeah.
Definitely. I like what Ibrahim said. Lucky one who found a helpful supervisor.
Yeah. Who found a helpful supervisor? Yeah, we would love to listen to people who found a supervisor in 30 to 60 days or 60 to 90 days. People all who said we can do it in that span. So we would love to hear, right? So do we have the results, Sarah? Because we've got another question to answer, right?
Okay, here we go.
Right, yeah. Everybody says everything is important. Yeah, that's rightly so. It's a mix of everything because you need to have listening and writing skills. You need to be diplomatic as well, but you don't need to be always diplomatic if you have got everything right. Yeah. And if you have the first and third, you're more or less there, but at the same time, you need to have a strong character to manage the relationship as well. Yes. And I'm going to come up with one of the most important questions, do we have a question posted for this, Sarah? So
yeah,
did we make a question? So do you think, by saying all these things, do you think we need to have a strong online community? We are not talking money here. We are not talking about any of them paying anything. We're just talking about talking to each other and helping each other with their problems, right? And it's going to be a global community. And if you think this is going to help, and don't just say this is going to help, if you think you're willing to participate, I think that makes the difference.
If I may, Farouk, to translate this point
please,
here,
please.
So الآن إحنا هدفنا بإذن الله بعد انتهاء هذا المنتدى إنه ما راح تنتهي علاقتنا مع بعض. إحنا سمعنا مشاكل بعض، فهمنا بعض، وكلنا يعني المنظمين والحضور كله، يعني كلنا طلاب، واستفدنا من خبرات الخريجي حديثي التخرج، استفدنا من خبرات بروفيسورات معنا. فهل حضورنا الكريم يبغى يستمر على تواصل؟ إحنا الآن عندنا كوميونيتي كبير، زي ما قلت لكم عندنا 2000 مشارك معنا في المنتدى. هل ترغبون إن إحنا نستمر في التواصل بعد انتهاء المنتدى هذا؟ سوف يكون التواصل عبارة عن منصة إلكترونية يتم الاشتراك فيها مجاناً. المنصة تحتوي على كل المواضيع المحتاج أي الأكاديمي يحتاجها. حيكون فيها منصة خاصة للتواصل. يعني إحنا عشنا مع بعض هذه الأسبوعين كلها، والأسبوع الجاي حيكون من المؤسف الشديد إن إحنا نترك بعض فقط يعني بنهاية المنتدى. لذلك أستاذ فاروق الله يسعده راح يسوي لنا هذه المنصة الإلكترونية. راح تحتوي زي ما قلت لكم على حلقات تدريب مجانية بشهادات معتمدة. راح تحتوي على كل الماتيريالز اللي نحتاجها. إن شاء الله راح نطلب الإذن من كل السبيكرز اللي كانوا معانا أنهم ينضمون إلى هذه المنصة. راح نفتح أيضا هذه المنصة لأي شخص عنده موهبة، عنده سكيلز، عنده علم حاب إنه يوصله للآخرين، وإنه يشترك معنا كمتدرب مجاني. فيشترك معنا يتطوع، وراح تكون يعني هذه المنصة راح تكون شاملة على كل شيء. حيكون فيها أقسام على حسب العلوم، يعني راح يكون فيها medical law، كل الأقسام. راح يكون فيها رحلة الدكتوراه اللي إحنا سويناها خلال المنتدى هذه كلها، ابتداء من البروبوزل، مرورا بالفايفا، مرورا بالمنتل هيلث، مرورا بكل التجارب السابقة، راح نضعها في هذه المنصة الإلكترونية. فإن شاء الله بعد انتهاء المنتدى راح نرسل لكم إيميلات يعني to sign up للبلاتفورم هذا، وبنظل على تواصل مع بعض على طول. Sorry, I'm talking too much, but it's
No,
really
go on. You know, I would say if you want to explain the golden 7 as well, I would open the slide for you.
yeah, if you put it back, because
Yeah, because I think it's important. This is the core, this is the important slide of the whole presentation. Yeah, if you can just explain this as well, because I may be too fast here. Yeah.
So هذه القواعد الذهبية السبعة من ابتكار أستاذ فاروق. في القاعدة الأولى اللي هي يعني ترى معليش translation skills عندي really bad, but I will try. يعني القاعدة الذهبية الأولى، إيش حابين توصلوا له؟ إيش هو الهدف والجول من دراستك للدكتوراه؟ يعني I can say فاروق here that in the middle of our journey ممكن the third year يعني الواحد بيوقف يقول why I'm here. What was my goal؟ يعني بعدين تخيل يعني دراسة الدكتوراه 4 سنين 3 سنين. It's a long journey, so you need to be clear, you need to know every step. So القاعدة الأولى هي إيش تبغى تحقق، إيش هي أهدافك. القاعدة الثانية كيف راح تحقق هذه الأهداف. القاعدة الثانية مين راح يحقق هذه الأهداف معايا، مين راح يكون مشارك معايا. يعني قد يكون زي ما تكلمنا Supervisor، قد يكون الأهل، يعني ممكن الواحد يبتعث أو يدرس في الخارج أهله كلهم. يعني لازم تعرف الأشخاص اللي راح يشاركون معك هذه، أو إذا كان في يعني في بعض التخصصات they work as a team or groups. القاعدة الرابعة when can I complete it? This is very important question فاروق. So because يعني maybe some countries they don't have this strict rules. يعني here in England يعني you need to submit within 3 to 4 years. You may have an extension after 4 years, but at least you have this clear يعني target. يعني عندك هذه الصورة الواضحة إنه خلاص عند 4 سنوات. لكن أتوقع بما إن الحضور تبعنا من جميع أنحاء العالم، فعندهم يعني different educational system. يعني ممكن في بعض الدول they take longer، أو ممكن بعض الدول they don't have a specific يعني time. So you need to set up، لازم تحدد التاريخ متى راح تنتهي. القاعدة الخامسة where am I now? Oh my goodness فاروق, this is really hard questions. So أتوقع إنه يعني هذه القاعدة الخامسة لابد إنك تسأل نفسك خلال رحلة الدكتوراه كلها من البداية إلى النهاية، أين مكاني الآن؟ وين وصلت له، إيش الأمور اللي حققت لها، إيش الديفلوبمنت والبروجرس اللي سويته، سواء كنت في البداية راح تكون أول ديفلوبمنت وصلت لها اللي هي مثلا إنك you got your proposal أو you got your offer. طيب بعدين خلصت الترانسفير ريبورت مثلا، فين أنا؟ ممكن يعني على السنة الثالثة الواحد ممكن يضيع الآن، لأنه أوكي هل أنا آخر سنة؟ هل أنا في نص السنة؟ أنا وين؟ لازم تسأل نفسك هذه القاعدة الخامسة، وين أنا؟ القاعدة السادسة why I'm doing good not good. Why am I doing good not good? The reasons for success and failure. اوكي هل انا قاعد اسوي شيء كويس ولا لا؟ فاروق this is really tricky question because يعني في ناس كثيرين ممكن ما راح يقولوا yeah I'm doing good. ممكن في ناس عندهم الشعور بالذنب دائما انه لا I'm not doing good. So القاعدة السادسة انك تسأل نفسك، تجلس مع نفسك، تاخذ الثيسس تبعتك، الريسيرش اللي سويته، اوراقك، انا ايش قاعد اسوي؟ انا قاعد اسوي زين ولا لا؟ يعني لازم تسأل نفسك هذا السؤال وتجاوب عليه بحيادية، يعني لا تظلم نفسك ولا يعني overestimate your goal. هذا القاعدة السادسة أتوقع مهمة نسأل نفسنا فيها طول مرحلة الدكتوراه. القاعدة السابعة finance, how much money do I need؟ طبعا أكيد هذا السؤال مهم للكثير. كم بقي لك سنة وكم المادة اللي تستخدم، كم بقي لك يعني مادة. maybe I'm not an expert in number 7 فاروق but it's an important golden
It is, yeah, it is very important. And just to add on top of it, thank you very much, Sarah. So that was a very good explanation. I understand Arabic, but I can't speak Arabic. Yeah. So this is so just to add on top of all the discussions, when we actually do the online portal or online platform, you can actually use that platform to do all the steps.
So
that
we can
will be,
monitor
yeah.
ourselves, Farouk.
Yeah, and that will be available in English and Arabic both, and French. It can have multiple languages. So it is not just to have only in English, it will have multiple languages, but we would strongly advise you to do that in English because you're going to go to the UK or the US to do that. So the whole process will be available, something like this, on your platform.
Right.
So so you will have dashboards to see where exactly you are. So that's going to be one of the element, and all the steps will be available and it will tell you where exactly you are, right? So that's the whole story. And if you have more questions, this is where I am on my LinkedIn, so you can type my name and I can find, or you can reach Sarah, and she would be able to help you as well. And Sarah, if anybody needs the presentation, we can share it. And
that's lovely.
Yeah. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. It's great having you. I live in England, but today I'm speaking to you from Dubai. So, I'm here for the next 2 weeks. So inshallah, like once you're back to UK, we'll catch up again. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Inshallah, thank you very much. Let me just say again something about the dashboard, Farouk.
Yeah.
So الآن القواعد السبعة الذهبية، فاروق ما شاء الله عليه يشتغل في الذكاء الاصطناعي، فممكن يعني من خلال هذا البلاتفورم إنه يعني شيء more than usual. يعني أنا جربت بعض المواقع اللي هو يسويها وبعض هذه الستبس والخيارات أو التست أو هالأشياء اللي يسويها أونلاين، يعني it's really amazing. So هذه القواعد السبعة راح تكون موجودة في الداشبورد. You will have your own dashboard صح with sign in and log in. So ممكن تجي خلال فترة دراستك كلها تدخل تحط الجولدن ستيب الأولى، الجولدن ستيب الثانية وإلى آخر. يعني it's شيء more personalized, isn't it, Farouk? So
it is very much personalized. Yeah, it is actually made for people who's using it, and we have had a lot of engagements with people who are actually doing PhD and similar courses. So so that's how it's going to be there. Yeah.
So we have 94% who's saying yes, we need a strong online community.
Yeah, so I think we are there, but the only thing is that you need to join in and you need to start engaging. It is not just me talking throughout. So you all need to talk so that we are making it as a huge success. Yeah.
Thank you very much. If we may, Farouk, we have some questions.
Yeah.
And we'll open the floor for oral questions as well. So we have a question in the Q&A from an anonymous attendee saying, I have difficulty with time management to improve different skills, reading articles, and at the same time, analyzing my data and back. Anyway, he has a big issue with time management. What's your take in this, Farouk?
I would say if somebody has got an issue with the time management, basically whatever they are doing extremely good, start writing the start date and end date, or the start time and end time, and see that how well are they doing it. The time management issue generally comes up because we are not actually measuring the amount of time we are taking, because sometimes or most of the time we go with an assumption. We don't actually take the decision of I am doing bad in time management based on the recorded time. Did you ever try to record the time you're managing badly? So let's say take an example of one activity you're doing, and you're saying that, okay, I am doing this extremely badly, or I'm doing it very badly. Now, let's look at the amount of time you have taken to complete that task very badly, so that you know that how much time, because we never know how much time are we taking. We're just saying that, okay, I'm doing it badly, but unless until you start measuring it, how much time it is going. Because when I say I am doing it badly, if you want to know how badly you're doing, you need to know that I am taking 3 hours instead of 30 minutes. So you know that what you need to improve. So now you're taking 3 hours. Next time when you're measuring, you're doing it in 2.5 hours. That means you made an improvement of 30 minutes. If you have to know this, you need to know how badly you're doing. For that, you need to measure how much time are you actually taking to do that job badly. Is that useful, Sarah?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So it's all about, if you think that, okay, I'm doing this job very bad, taking a lot of time, please start measuring how much time are you taking to manage multiple things on multiple scenarios or multiple days.
I would really agree.
Yeah.
We have another question from Mohammed Wasim saying, when we read so much articles, we found many gaps, so I feel confused where we have to draw the boundaries of the research.
Okay, because of the availability of information, because of internet, I completely agree with you. Because so this is where you have to strongly stick to the instructions or the guidelines given by the university, or this is where you have to stay within the boundaries of your thesis structure and its scope. Because when you're defining the structure of your thesis, you also need to define the scope. And to do both of these things, you need to make sure that you've got a very, very strong support from your supervisor, as well as if you can form a very strong community or team who is doing such an exercise, forming the different theses or similar theses across the world. Because you've got so much of capacity using internet, so rather than just finding information from the internet, also try to validate the information found using multiple platforms like groups, using multiple platforms like online community, using your administrators guidelines, and also using your supervisor. So you need to actually validate the information to ensure that you are not actually dying within the information overflow.
I completely agree, Farouk. So you should not be alone in this journey.
You cannot. If you think you're very smart, you can do everything easily. Okay, you may have a very smart start. You've got a very high speed. It's like if you want to run 10,000 meters, you run the first 1,000 meters very fast. Then after that, everybody knows what's going to happen, right? So it's important that you've got people to hold your hands. You've got a strong community, and you've got a strong supervisor. It's not necessary that supervisor can guide you completely, especially with the overflow of the information. Because if you don't have a very strong scope and people to validate what you're taking a deep dive into, you may have wrong information or bad quality of information or insights coming into your papers. So as always, every business says garbage in is garbage out. If you have, yeah, if you have the best of the best planning process in place, but if you have the wrong data or poor quality data, your results are not going to be really good, even after following the best strategic planning.
Thank you, Farouk. I do really agree, and especially it's really hard to find someone that who is studying in the same field, who can help you. Yeah. On my side, I found it really difficult for me to start my PhD without anyone with me on the same field. And it was really hard for me to reach my colleague because I was living in another city, so I didn't go to university in my university. So I found it really difficult. So if there is this platform in place, it will make it easier for me to reach everyone in the same field all across the globe.
Yeah, I think you're completely all right. See, things which are difficult, but you can still achieve it. But if you're putting the efforts, you will be there. Like Ibrahim says here, PhD journey is swimming alone until reach to the end. The supervisor will appear. So I don't know, I liked it, so thank you, Ibrahim, for bringing this, so this is really good. Yeah, so this is more of a funny way of looking at it, but end of the day, see, you need to put your efforts in, then you will have the right result. So if you think that, okay, PhD is easy, you will have a lot of PhD scholars roaming around in every city, but you don't see them just because it is tough. But you're doing a great job, and you're going to make it soon.
Yeah, inshallah. And the
Inshallah.
same issues with Rahaf. She said, my supervisor does not communicate with me and give me no help. What should I do in this case?
I would say the communication is because you need to understand your supervisor, because some people are very detail oriented. Some people are like very, they just need one piece of information, that is enough for them. So you need to understand the behavioral aspects of your supervisor. So it's important that what drives your supervisor. Is it a lot of information? Is it a summary of information? Is it the structure of the way the information is put together? Is it the verbal communication, or is it the written communication, right? Or is it a recorded conversation where the supervisor would love to listen to that on a later stage? You need to understand what strikes here, because this is very important. Thank you for bringing this question, because if you don't communicate the way the supervisor wants you to communicate, you're not making it. It is like I'm coming and giving you a presentation for 1 hour, and I think that, okay, I've done extremely good job without talking to any of you, right? So it's important that you need to understand what makes the supervisor listen to you and understand you. It could be talking to him over a cup of coffee. It could be talking to him by writing an email. It could be talking to him by a 10-page essay, or writing a 10-page essay, or it could be sending him a recorded video or a recorded WhatsApp conversation. I don't know. What works for you, what works between you and your supervisor, is something which you have to make out. For that, you need to test all of these what I've said, and if anything is there more, you need to do that as well. That's what I see.
Thank you very much. And I see Raed Mohammed here. He echoes what you have said as well regarding supervision.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Rahid says you need to motivate each other. You cannot expect the supervisors to do everything for you. You need to, you need to motivate him. You need to appreciate his efforts, and you need to make sure that, it is a team who's doing it for each other. The supervisor needs you, and you need the supervisor as well, right? So the more you engage, and the better it is. If you think the supervisor is going to do a lot of magic for you, I don't think it's not going to happen. It's your journey. You're the one who's going to work hard. You're the one who's going to take a deep dive. The supervisor would more or less guide you and validate you, and even utilize the administrators and the guidelines, because that's very, very important as well, so that you don't go away from the actual scope.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And by the end, I would like to say something. We have someone on the, we would appreciate Amal, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Amal, we have a supervisor here and we need to hear his voice.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really appreciated, Farouk, the information that you have shared. Really, really fantastic. So just my, not a question in a way, but if there is any practical way, let's say, to use the 7 rules. For example, what your advice is it to use it on a daily basis or weekly basis, or how it works? So
I would say that, the monitoring. So let's say we have discussed each step in the journey, right? So whenever you start a step, whenever you start a step, you need to make sure that, you're filling these 7 questions and it is answers,
Yes.
and the monitoring process, has to be, at least every 2 weeks, you need to monitor it once, saying that, okay, where exactly you are, because you're actually creating a very strong structure. But if you don't actually monitor the structure, or if you don't review the structure, there is no point looking at it, because if you need to improve, you need to see where are you doing good, where are you doing bad, and where exactly you are on the journey.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks.
And Amal, just to add on top of it, when we actually start the community, we will have an actual template where every PhD student can come in and they can use this platform to plan their journey.
Okay, great. No, that's really fantastic. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much.
I love templates, Farouk. Yeah. Thank you, Amal. I would like to say one more thing before we leave. Please, let's stop WhatsApp groups. Great. Because there are millions of WhatsApp groups with different disciplines for different countries, but it's really hard to find any information there with thousands of texting. So this platform will replace all the WhatsApp and Telegram groups.
I think I'm very happy and excited about the number of people who joined the session and stayed there throughout. That shows the spirit and interest. And first of all, thank you very much to Sarah and Amal, for scheduling this. So this has been an amazing session. So yeah, being with you all, yeah.
Thank you very much, Farouk, for your amazing session. Thank you for everyone today who joined us. And we hope to see you next week for the last 2 sessions, inshallah.
Sarah, can I just add something? Yeah, sorry.
Yes,
sorry, I don't want to take a credit. So Farouk, I'm not organizing anything. Sarah and Hajar, they are doing the fantastic job. I just delivered the session for them. That's
Is it? Okay. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, no,
so
it's
maybe
okay.
we get to know each other well, yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Amal joined us on the one of our sessions about publication, and actually there was a question here asking for your session, Amal. It was recorded and we'll share it with you inshallah in due course. Thank you, Amal. Thank you, Farouk. We're not going to take from your time any longer. And thank you, everybody who joined us today. شاركونا الأسبوع الجاي عندنا 2 panels about PhD experience. The first panel about post PhD career, and the second panel عن تجارب بعض طلاب الدكتوراه حديثية تخرج. مع السلامة. Goodbye everybody. I will see you next week inshallah.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Take care of yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Assalamu
فاروق. مع السلامة.